Very good. Thank you so much, Wendy. I appreciate it. As as for those of you who have been on the first two sessions, we're talking about how we do threat assessment based on an overall threat assessment topology that we use quite extensively at Athens Group. It's based on the Plan, Do, Check, Act, or in this case, the Plan, Execute, Verify, and Adjust, the Deming or the Shruhart cycle that most of us are familiar with. Within each one of those areas, we've done further decomposition of it. We've already covered planning. We went through the planning process on the first session, and as with all projects, whether they're software, IT, threat, or any kind of project we want to work on, we've got to always make sure we get the planning phase done. Planning doesn't cast everything in concrete. Things change, as we've seen from the start of this 6 sessions with what's been happening with COVID-19 across the globe. We talked also about identification, how we take that in session 2 and take our plans and make sure we do all the identification. Today we're going to talk about mitigate. How do we do the mitigation of all of the risks that we found? Again, session 2, we did the threat identification. We went through looking at, again, talking about our Windows case, the Windows 10 case, where we had our threats, and we looked at all the different threats from not just Microsoft, but geographically and so forth. The threat case, we looked at this. Now, as I said before, this is ongoing. This is still we're still working on this. Luckily, we did the threat assessment at the beginning, so we're right in the middle of installing the 5 of these. And at the next session, which will be 2 weeks from now, I'm going to give you an update on where we are with our case and how we've adjusted our threat assessments as we've moved forward. So this is unfolding in real time. We're as a company, we're adjusting to what we're doing, and my threat team is working to make sure that we do as much mitigation as possible. And in the identify stage, we looked at threat areas, and in our case, it was oil and gas, Microsoft, and so on. And these were taken directly from the threat assessment. So we looked at the threat assessment, we processed that, and we found that these were the areas that we identified. And as we went through the process of identification, we also decided that these 3 would be removed: oil and gas, industrial control systems, and the Far West Pacific. We would take some of those off. Doesn't mean we won't revisit them, but for right now, we're going to take those off. The threats that we have remain to mitigate are the Microsoft, the common vulnerabilities and exposures, the CVEs, the industrial control system. Even with a 90-day horizon for the completion based on the use case, there really is insufficient time to address the design of the current system. But as we start to go through the installation process, we always have to keep an eye on this, because what happens and what we've found happens is as we start doing the integration of the new operating system with existing tools, we've usually found that one of our hardware or software suppliers has possibly missed an area in the industrial control system. So although we're not going to keep this as a formal process, we're going to make sure that it stays on our radar screen. COVID-19, this is definitely one of the major areas that we have to look at, which is going to impact our travel, and it already has impacted our travel. So these are the threats that remain to mitigate. So as we look at the mitigation, we're down here, the second step in execute. We've done the planning, we've done the research, we've done the definition, we've done the identification, and actually pared down the number of threats based on a number of different aspects that we finished researching. And now we want to look at how are we going to go through the process of mitigating this. So the first thing we want to do is set up a threat mitigation response matrix. So here are the four that we're going to keep focusing on. We're going to keep focusing on Microsoft, the Industrial Control System, COVID-19, and the Far West Pacific. And as we've gone through the processes over the last several weeks, we realize that we have to continue to look and at least keep these on our radar screen. Now, with Microsoft, there's not much we can avoid, and so I'm sure that many of you are familiar with the idea of mitigating risk and mitigating threat. And the idea of avoiding it is you're going to say, well, I know there's a threat here, but I'm going to work around what that threat itself is. So assume that one of the Microsoft threats that I want to avoid might be having to do with remote job execution. And what I'm going to say is I'm going to avoid that because I'm going to turn off all remote job execution within my Windows 10 environment. There's some threats that I'm going to accept. There are threats, again, from Microsoft that I know are out there, but I'm going to accept them because some of them have to do simply with documentation. There's a lack of documentation as some of the CVEs. So what I'll do is I'll accept that's going to be an issue, that's going to be a possible threat, and then I'll do something. I'll make my own I'll do my own types of documentation. I'll do something else to make sure that I've addressed it, but I accept it. Unfortunately, with Microsoft, I can't transfer it. The idea of transferring a risk, there's a number of ways to do that. And again, those of you who are PMPs have gone through this process. Those of you with experience in project management have seen how to transfer some of the risks. We transfer risks through purchasing insurance. We have cybersecurity insurance. We have insurance for travel. We have medical evacuation insurance. So that's one.
Hi there, I hope you enjoyed that last clip. My name is Michael Malutis, and if you'd like to watch the full 60 minutes of that last webcast, while also gaining complete unlimited access to our entire library of IT learning, simply visit our subscribe page at greatpro.org/subscribe. Unlimited annual access is $199 per year, but if you use the coupon code LEARN2EARN, you can drop that membership fee to just $149. That's less than $13 per month for unlimited access to over 1,000 hours of on-demand career development, covering the entire spectrum of IT management best practices, including business analysis and requirements, software development, quality and testing, risk management, process improvement, project management, and even digital transformation. But your membership doesn't just give you unlimited access to our vast learning library. You also get free access to our mobile app, as well as direct access to our network of over 300 of the world's leading IT consultants, all of whom are dedicated to putting practical knowledge at your fingertips so that you can learn more and earn more. I hope you will join me in becoming a member of the Great IT Professional and advancing your career with us. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button above so that you get notified whenever we publish new free webcasts each week of the year. Thank you for your time and best wishes for your continued success.